What's going on, everyone? So, John Collins gets traded to the Los Angeles Clippers. They end up sending out Norman Powell, which I do think kind of makes things really interesting. And we have news on kind of the Clippers' plan. And it does affect the Lakers, right? Not only did the Clippers just get John Collins, which made them better, and I really like the fit with John Collins on the Clippers, as painful as it is for me to say, right? Because it is the Clippers. But if I remove my Laker bias for a moment, that was a great pickup for them and at great value. Yes, they get rid of Norman Powell, who's really good for them last year, but John Collins is just much more dynamic for them, kind of slots in better in a role that they really need. That rebounding, versatile defensive wing with athleticism, can be a lob threat, shoot the three ball, right? Slots in beautifully alongside Ivica Zubac, and then also can play a small ball five, and they can kind of go wide with like Kawhi at the four. They're going to be tough, right? They're deep, they're talented. You're seeing them get better. Well, also, the Miami Heat end up landing Norman Powell, which kind of begs the question, okay, what does that mean for Damian Lillard? Because Damian Lillard was linked to potentially go there. Now, Damian Lillard is probably going to sit out this year. Even if he signs a contract, he's going to miss most, if not all, season. So maybe this is just kind of like, hey, we got Norman Powell, and then when Dame's ready to go, maybe we'll bring in Dame type thing, possibly. Because Norman Powell can do his contract, right? There's questions in that regard. Also, Bradley Beal, right? Miami was one of the teams that was supposedly interested in Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal is working on a buyout. We're supposed to be getting news sooner or later on a Bradley Beal situation. And Miami was one of those teams. Well, even if Miami is still in play for Bradley Beal, the Clippers now are a team that is in play for Bradley Beal as well, because they just got rid of Norman Powell, and the Clippers' plan, based on reports that have came out, is that they want to bring in Chris Paul and Bradley Beal to round out the rest of their roster. So essentially, they want something like a James Harden, Bradley Beal, Kawhi Leonard, John Collins, and Ivica Zubac with guys like, Chris Paul, Derrick Jones Jr., Brook Lopez, these guys all off the bench, right? So that is a problem for the Lakers, right? Because Lakers need to find value. They need to go and make moves. They need to make trades, obviously. But if you can get guys in the buyout market, it again takes pressure and gives you more leverage to go make these other moves, because now you're not coming from a place of desperation, right? Lakers going and bringing in DeAndre Ayton means that now when you're talking and having negotiations about another center, you're not coming from the point where it's like, hey, we don't have a center, right? That's what teams were looking at. Teams were like, hey, man, who's your center? You want a center? Guess what? We got a center, baby, but the price is the price. Well, now it's like, okay, well, price is price, no problem. We'll just move on to the next guy. And you wait until you find that team that blinks and goes, okay, fine, we'll trade you what you need to trade you, right? Same thing with like a Jackson Hayes as a backup, right? It's like, hey, we'd love to have Nick Richards as our backup, but if your price is your price, then fine. We'll just stay with Jackson Hayes. Look at how good he was for us. Imagine him now off the bench, right? He's young. He's still growing and developing. We're fine. We got Maxi Kleber that can stretch the floor. Still guys like Al Horford out there. There's other, Nikola Vucevic is rumored to maybe potentially be a buyout candidate in a month or so. That could be another option for the Lakers, right? You start going down the list. You have this leverage point. Well, if the Lakers end up going and getting a guy like a Bradley Beal and, whoever else gets bought out, Chris Middleton and Marcus Smart and all these guys, now you're solving a lot of your needs. One, depending on what you get and who ends up getting bought out and what ends up happening, you might not even have to do anything else. You might be fine in that regard. But two, it gives you now that leverage point in these conversations for an Andrew Wiggins. It's like, hey, if Chris Middleton gets bought out, right, and you go and sign Chris Middleton, it's like, hey, we still want Andrew Wiggins. We'd love to have Andrew Wiggins. He's younger, he's healthier. We can slot him in at the three. But if you want a first and Dalton Connect to Rui Hachimura, just not worth it. We'd rather take our chance on a Chris Middleton, right? Or some other guy ends up getting bought out, whatever, right? Every day it seems like there's new reports about new guys getting bought out, because the new CBA, that's going to be the norm. Under the new CBA, that's going to be a regular thing, right? Teams are going to end up wanting to get off of contracts, wanting to get off of guys. You're going to get veteran guys that want to get bought out. It's just, you're seeing it. I don't think it's a coincidence that more guys this offseason might be bought out than ever, because, again, the new CBA is causing that. And teams are like, hey, if we can save $10 million this season, why not save $10 million and buy this guy out, right? So that's a thing. But, a guy like Bradley Beal would make a ton of sense for the Lakers. A guy like Bradley Beal could really benefit on the Lakers as well, right? And it gives the Lakers kind of that Austin Reeves insurance, right? If he ends up walking in the offseason, right? At least you got Bradley Beal that could slot in and play the starting role, right? If he wants that $50 million he could get Austin Reeves, it's like, hey, like we shouldn't touch that. Let's sign and trade him to a team that is willing to pay him whatever, right? And now you get some assets and some players, and then Bradley Beal can slot in and play that back, the starting 2 role for you. I mean, there's an argument that if you get Bradley Beal, you should look to trade Austin Reeves while you can, because Bradley Beal can play that Austin Reeves role and give you the same type of production and stuff. I mean, say what you want about Bradley Beal, he was still nearly an 18-point a game guy. He was like 17, 4-4 or something like that off the bench last year for the Phoenix Suns in a terrible situation with a terrible fit and just all over the place. Problem with Bradley Beal is just the injury issues, right? The injury concerns. But now you have these teams that are positioning themselves to go and make a lot of the same plays that the Lakers are trying to do. And the more competition, the more likely it is that another team ends up landing said player, right? Whether it's trades, whether it's whatever. And you got the Laker tax, and you got all this other stuff. It's exhausting, right? Because it's just like the John Collins trade. That's not the Lakers' price. We had multiple reports that Utah wanted a first-round pick for John Collins in all the Lakers negotiations. And any conversation that the Lakers had about John Collins, the Utah Jazz wanted a first. He went for Kyle Anderson, Kevin Love, and a second-round pick. He wouldn't have gone that for the Lakers, right? Because, again, no team wants to be that. No team wants to be the team that bails out and saves the Lakers, and now the Lakers are the best team in basketball and a title contender. No one wants to be the Pau Gasol acquisition, right? No one wants to be that, and that's the problem, right? Like, what other teams' prices are not the Lakers' prices. What other teams do are not what the Lakers do. And this is the dilemma for the Lakers. But Rob Pelinka, look, he has to navigate this. He has to figure this out, right? That's your solution. You figure it out. Adapt and overcome, right? Because, but you also want to position yourself to make it make sense. Like, I do believe, look, I am very confident the Lakers are going to make a trade. Obviously, I don't know. Again, I'm not an insider. I'm just a fan. I can't call Rob Pelinka and be like, hey, my guy, like, what's the deal? What's the plan? Nothing other than just a YouTuber that is a fan, right? But I am very confident the Lakers are going to pull off a trade because you look at the moves that the Lakers have made, you look at the roster, you look at the situation, it's screaming, you have to make a trade. Now, does that mean that trade happens like today or tomorrow or this offseason? Not necessarily, right? Like maybe Lakers start the season with these guys and end up doing that, right? Rob's going to be patient, which he should be. No trade is better than a bad trade. I would rather Rob Pelinka stay. Like, what if Rob Pelinka did give up a first and Dalton Connect for John Collins? And then we find out that that Utah was going to give up John Collins to the Clippers in a 3-team trade, and we're going to be able to get him for a second. You don't think that information would have came out? Absolutely, right? Why did Utah take it? Because the Lakers were foolish enough to give up what they asked for, right? Like, all of us would have lost our mind. All of us would have been like, Rob, he's this, that, and the other. Right? Again, but patience is key. It's why I keep preaching it. Right? What happens if Rob Pelinka went and traded for Nick Claxton or Daniel Gafford and gave up Dalton Connect and a first and all that stuff to go get him? And then we find out that DeAndre Ayton is available for free. All of us would be like, why did you go and trade our only assets to go get a guy when you could have just waited a week and got Daniel Gafford, again, or DeAndre Ayton, right? It's a lose-lose for Rob Pelinka. But here's the thing. It's going to be the same thing no matter what. Whether it's, Bob Myers, Rob Pelinka, it's the Laker tax, not the Rob Pelinka tax. It's a Laker tax. We've had that Laker tax for existence. People like to point to like the Pau Gasol trade and the Luka Doncic trade, right? And people fail to realize like the Luka trade, Lakers gave up Anthony Davis, right? Like people like to pretend like the Lakers just like gave up Austin Reeves and Max Christie and landed Luka Doncic. No, they traded Anthony Davis, Max Christie, a first for Luka Doncic. Right? They didn't trade scraps for him. They traded, a top 10 player and arguably the best defensive player in all of basketball. Right? Like that's what they wanted. Right? The Lakers had what they wanted. Boom, opportunity presented itself, and Rob Pelinka took it. Right? Again, Rob Pelinka, not above criticism. He does a lot of things wrong, but he's going to have to figure this out and navigate this because teams are coming. Teams are loading up, especially in the Western Conference, and how stacked and deep the West is. right? Rob Pelinka's got to figure this out. And you have teams like the Clippers now that are trying to put together the Lakers blueprint. Oh, and by the way, they're also trying to preserve cap space for 2027 like the Lakers are, so they can try to lure in these other guys. You got guys like Steve Ballmer that have deep pockets that are like, hey, man, Nikola Jokic, what are you doing, right? How would you like to get paid? How would you like to do this, that, and the other, right? It's just, Lakers are going to have to navigate this. Lakers are going to have to figure this out. It's frustrating. It sucks. It's like, dude, you got all these other teams doing all this other stuff, and teams are kind of gearing up to make a lot of the same. Again, Clippers love to take guys that the Lakers are after. It happens all the time. Every time you hear a report about the Lakers wanting somebody, the Clippers are going to be trying to get him. Lakers want John Collins. Clippers end up landing John Collins, right? But to the Clippers' credit, they're the team that's getting it. But teams want the Clippers. Teams would rather and there's no, be on, even if you hate the Lakers, you don't think other teams would rather help the Clippers than the Lakers? You don't think other teams would rather see the Clippers win a championship than the Lakers win another one? Of course. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. If you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.